Hello, I'm Eric Robert Hunter, and I want to welcome you to Scrapless. Scrapless is all about finding the abundance in what we have left over. Essentially, it's a series of recipes and ingredients, a cooking show, but really, it's about finding some ingenuity. So whether you're young or old, a college student or a retiree, this is going to show people how to utilize what's left in the pantry. And that could be in the kitchen, but also in our hearts and our minds, and how to be resourceful. In 2019, I moved into a small studio apartment in Palm Springs, and it didn't have a stove, it just had a microwave and a sink. So I started an Instagram when I got a hot plate, and I called it One Man with One Pan. And I had to learn how to come up with some of the best dishes I've ever eaten utilizing that one pan. Now, times have changed and I've moved on and no longer in just the studio apartment with a hot plate. But what I do still have is that ingenuity. I've lived all over the world, from Florence, Italy to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. I've spent time in Fiji. I was raised in Atlanta and Northern Virginia, and originally from California. So I have a very eclectic palate, so to speak. And I know that my purpose in life is to help people. And that comes in many forms, but one of the tastiest forms is food. So I welcome you to join me in my endeavors to create some dishes and join me in a lifestyle where we're bettering ourselves. Because I don't know about you, but food's getting a little expensive, and I like to eat. So welcome to the show. Please subscribe, share, and like whichever episode you want. I can't wait to get into this. Here we go. All right, we got our first item. It's gonna be some rainbow carrots, organic, of many colors. I don't know about you, but I like to know that when I bite into a carrot, I can get through it, but I still want it to have some crunch. So I've preheated my oven to about 400. Depending on the type of oven you have, things like that. You get to know it, so you know where to pre-temp it. But I'm gonna show you a little trick. Keep them in the bag. You can wash them off here. I think that's always a good idea. With any of my produce, just go get it washed off. But I want to make sure they're not going to stick to the pan I'm going to put them in. Now, normally I would use a nice olive oil. I'm running a little low. I really just need these not to stick. And this is Scrapless. So we're trying to really work through the vegetable oil and get to the point where we're buying better oil. So we're working through our pantry. We're working through the ingredients that we have in our house, because Lord knows food is expensive these days. And I just put it in the bag. I don't need to roll them around in the pan. This might be a little much, but these are some pretty big carrots. I don't know about you, but I like seeing a lot of color on my plate. So there's oil in the bag. Before I start swishing that around, why not season it up a little bit? So 'tis the season for the holidays. I always like to use a little nutmeg. And yes, I did buy this on sale. This show is for the real folks on a budget, folks trying to stretch $1. Nutmeg, I don't think that's going to expire. In any case, got some Himalayan pink salt. I'm not going to waste too much on this because I can always season once I plate it, but adds a little bit of grit, a little bit of cinnamon, give a little spice. Carrots are actually pretty good with a little bit of spice on them, but I'm also going to do some Italian seasoning. Take the whole lid off this thing because it just moves a little too slow, and really try to make sure that seasoning is getting down to the bottom of the carrots, not stuck on the bag. And a sprinkle of garlic salt. All right, So now we just utilized the bag that this came in, and we're just gonna wrestle this thing. Wrestle it up. Roll those bad boys around. You can see that flavor getting all over the oil. We know these are gonna be nice and non-sticking to the pan that we put them in. Every carrot gets equal opportunity seasoning. They all deserve it. And really, what you're gonna do is throw this into the cooking pan. All right, so we've seasoned them up. We got our pan here. Actually, I'm gonna be honest, I'm recycling this pan. I put another layer of foil, but I actually made mac and cheese on Thanksgiving in this pan, but I'm being resourceful. So look, we're working on a budget. This show's for real people trying to eat some real food, stretch a dollar. You know what I'm trying to say? So anyway, just empty them out. Nice and seasoned evenly. Boom. Look at all that. Look at all that. Lovely seasoning. I'm not gonna spend too much time trying to get that out, but I do wanna make sure these are spread evenly so that they bake evenly. Ivory, watch out, buddy. You'll notice my emotional support dog, he likes to come around when it's time to cook, and I don't really like him in the kitchen too much, to be honest, because we want to keep our animals safe. That is it. I would have covered it, made them nice and tender, but I actually like a little roasting, almost like they're grilled. So we're gonna throw these in the oven. Like I said, we preheated it. For me, the bottom rack gets a lot hotter, and then after about, let's say, 15, 20 minutes, I'm gonna throw them up top for another 10. Then, let's say another 12, 15 minutes. Check and make sure I can cut into one of those bad boys. Really, it's up to you. It could be al dente, doesn't stick to the teeth if you like a little crunch. I don't like to cook the nutrients out of my food, so we're gonna cook these according to liking, but let's move on to the protein. So, just got my brand new cast iron skillet. If you don't have one, I recommend investing in one because the non-stick skillet I had was just falling apart. So what I'm gonna do is, and what we're working with here is gonna be some fish. I have swai and I have catfish. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this bad boy heated. Turn that on kind of a medium high heat. This is going to be a learning experience for all of us because I'm getting to know this pan. And I think it's so exciting to get to know your cooking utensils, your cookware. So I'm stoked. I didn't have a lot of fish left. I literally had scraps because I had fried fish the other day. But while that's heating, I'm going to show you how to put together your own fried fish, because you know I'm from the South, so sometimes I might be living on the West Coast. You just be craving, that Southern cooking. Now look, I was really gonna cheat y'all and do the pre-made fish fry stuff, but I guess I used it up the last time. So I'm using some pancake baking mix, and I'm going to show you how to season it up. Really, we're going to put that on this one over here that's closest to, like I said, I don't have a lot of fish, so we don't need a lot of that. And you could use flour. Really, cornmeal is going to be what makes some stuff stick, and that's where you're going to get that nice kind of restaurant style crunchiness. And the more you do this, the more you start learning what flavors you like. Like I said, I'm a big nutmeg person, and look at this bad boy. This thing's lasted me like 3 months now. The other thing is everything bagel seasoning. I like to have a little sesame seed on my fish, and I usually don't fry food. So, we just came back from Thanksgiving. I know I'm gonna get back on the train in between Christmas and now. But in the meantime, let's fry up the rest of this fish. This is gonna be some salmon rub seasoning. Now, I know this isn't salmon, but
we're breaking all the rules. We're working with what we got. Fish is fish. But this rub does go great on salmon. And I'm really not going to worry too much about seasoning this up, because once the fish is done, I just want to really know it has a nice coat on it. And I make my own tartar sauce. I make a homemade tartar sauce. And I know the secret, because I worked at a seafood restaurant for over 7 years, to making a tartar sauce that has people always coming back asking for more. Now the trick to frying, especially with some fish like catfish or swai, is going to be coating it with a little bit of a batter. So I'm going to do some egg. I'm only using one because I only have about 3 or 4 pieces of fish. I'll wash my hand after that. And some milk. And I mean, after a while, you'll start to learn the proper amounts for these things, but for the sake of instruction, what is this? Half a cup of milk and an egg. A little bit goes a long way. When it comes to these things, throwing the milk back in the fridge. Gonna grab a fork. You could do a whisk, but look. Sometimes you living on your own, you ain't got all the utensils. I have a whisk, but the fork just works wonders. Whisk is nice and fancy, but kind of works better with sauces. When it comes to eggs, that fork just really gets in there and evens it out. So, making sure my hands are dry, because when it comes to hot oil and water, that don't mix. You don't want to do that. You'll notice I didn't put any salt in this because I'm going to have the tartar sauce. Also, when I make the homemade tartar sauce, that's where the saltiness is going to come from. But I want to add one ingredient because I am usually pretty health conscious. I've come a long way on my journey. So, flaxseed. It's great for coating. And like I said, we're missing the cornmeal. So why not utilize a little flaxseed and get our omegas on? Okay? Okay. And I'll be honest, we might have to make this batter again after we coat some fish and throw them in. I'm just going to hold my hand over the skillet here. I can tell. Turn it up a little bit more. This is nice and hot. So the first ones are going to be these fillets from the deli, the fish market, of catfish. Putting those in the egg and milk mix. And I have tried to do this without coating it when I was out of eggs and stuff. You can still do it, but it really does make a difference when it comes to that crispy texture holding on to the actual protein. I kind of massage it a little bit, make sure that egg gets nice and in there, that egg mix. And I want to mix up that flaxseed with this. And actually what I'm going to do, let that marinate a little bit. Get back our fork and make sure this is nice and even so everything has kind of a similar coat to it. All right. All right. So we got our fillets, coating them up with the egg, and we're gonna make it nice and even. I'm pressing down on it so that it gets. And that is the timer for our carrots. So what I'm going to do is actually turn off the oven, because my oven gets pretty darn hot. I'll tell you, I've left those carrots on the bottom row, but they'll be all right. And we're just really making sure there's a nice even coat on each one of our fillets of catfish. Okay? Now, once that's there, flip that on over. You could use a fork, or you could be a savage like me and just, use your hands. You Can't even see the fillets in there. They're like camouflage. That's how you want it to be, in those grooves. Okay, now you see the batter. You know that batter's coming together because it's sticking to my fingers. Like I'm gonna fry them, but we're not eating our own fingers tonight. We're gonna have some fish. So as I swivel back to our skillet, I'll show you. Now I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit just in case it might be too hot. First meal, that's a great sign. That's a great sign. That sizzle, that pop, that means the temperature's just right. I want to get these in there all together so I don't have to worry. It actually is probably, I mean, ain't nothing like getting a brand new cast iron skillet. And the first thing you do with it is what? Fry some catfish. Don't play with me, y'all. Don't play with me. We out here. So while that's going, I'm gonna break out our swai. I love getting fresh fish from the market. You know, fish is fish, but there's something about going up to them, you know, and saying, hey, can I get 2 pounds of this? You know, and the certain fillet. Swai is for me, you know, everybody's different. You got to find the protein that works for you. Swai's got me a long way. 1, because it's inexpensive. 2, it's really high in protein. And for a guy like me that likes to work out, chicken can get kind of expensive, especially chicken breasts. And what I'm doing is just coating that again, same game, in that egg and milk batter, so that this floury texture that our coating sticks to it. And like I said, a little bit goes a long way when it comes to this. So I'm actually gonna have surplus. I hate to waste, but we can't use this egg and milk batter again because ain't nobody trying to get sick up in here. All right, so now putting that nice in the pan, nice and even. One side, shake it up a little bit, see if that coat gets on there. And the good part is we're using every single item that we've had. There's not going to be really much excess of this left. That nice coat. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to use my other dry hand to really get this battered up, because once one hand gets the batter on it, it's kind of hard to let it break off to cover. And I like to just pat it on there, so that when I throw this bad boy in that cast iron skillet, my new cast iron skillet, my baby, don't worry, I still love you. I'm talking to my dog, but he knows. Daddy got a brand new toy. Okay, now the vent's coming on because it's getting hot in here. That's all right. Let's go ahead and put this in our fry. There we go. Now I kind of overestimated, but looks like we're doing all right. We got our fish frying. I'm going to go ahead and change it up and get our carrots to the top row. Alright, so let's see how our carrots are doing.
Hey, watch out, go back.
Told y'all, gotta keep them puppies safe. Alright. They're doing alright. Now I want to get them up top so they get nice and crispy. I'm going to turn that oven right back on because, like I said, mine gets hot quick. And then I'm going to flip this fish.
You gotta flip that fish, boy. You better flip that fish, boy.
Alright, there's no fork yet. Once again, careful with the water and the oil. Some people use a spatula. I like to use a fork. Very precise. And the more the show develops, the more I'll be able to get more angles. I'm gonna let that swai still kind of keep on keeping on. That our catfish, we know we put that in first, is a lot more ahead of the game, so. And we're cooking, we're rolling. We're gonna do about 3-4 minutes on each side, but really you can tell by the crispiness of the coat. All right, so to be honest, I'm feeling pretty confident about the catfish. I don't want it to be burnt. Just to show you all. Look at that. Now, I'm putting this on paper towel so that grease can get caught up in there. And if you wanted to salt it, you could actually salt the paper towel so that way when you bring it out, it's all right there. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I love seeing that sesame seed on our fillets. These are pretty well done, so I know that they're done on the inside. This swai, I'm gonna be a little risky right now. I could use a spatula, but I'm just gonna flip it with this fork like a G. There we go. There we go. I put that heat pretty much on medium. Okay, and see, I'm messing up. I got my brand new skillet. I had that fish lined up where it wasn't oiled. So, word to the wise, make sure the food doesn't stick to the skillet, because now I'm going to have to clean it, but I don't want to scrape off the pre-seasoning of cast iron. You want to keep that cast iron non-stick. Gonna make sure our timer's on, and we're gonna finish the rest of this swai. All right, so I know the audio on here might not be the best. This is a learning experience, but we're getting it together. Look how beautiful this piece of swai is. I mean, my goodness. Restaurant style fried fillet of swai. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on the napkin. And I'm gonna retrieve our carrots from Le Avon. Check them out. Let me grab another. Anybody trying to burn myself up in here? Okay. Wow. Wow. Nice and roasted. Nice and roasted. That beautiful rainbow color. Go ahead and turn that heat off on there. Let that oil cool down. Cast iron holds heat for a while. We're gonna plate our food. All right, people. Well, we did it. Got our swai, nice, strong, fried filet. Didn't take too long. I love seeing the color in those rainbow carrots. I mean, look at what happens when you cut those purple ones open. They're actually yellow. And it just lets you know this food is real. And we made it. And it took no time. So if you're looking for a quick recipe, you got some fish left over, easy way to fry an egg, some milk, make your own little batter, throw those carrots in the oven beforehand, let those cook while you're frying. You got a meal here. I'm actually not gonna eat this. I'm still full from Thanksgiving, but man, I'm pretty proud of myself. Also, this is a recycled jar, but it's my homemade tartar sauce in here. So as far as that salt goes, well, I'll be dipping this swai fillet when I plate the tartar sauce when I eat it. But I'm actually meal prepping a little bit, so this will be a guilty pleasure later in the week after we do some lifting. And if you want to know the recipe to the tartar sauce, well, you're gonna have to stay tuned, because I'm not just giving that away. All right, thanks so much. Scrapless. All right, well, we just did our first episode of Scrapless, and man, I gotta say, I'm pretty darn impressed. Scrapless, excuse me. Boy, child,
We're gonna learn how to make vegetables taste good, I'll tell you that. And Scrapless, once again, is about finding the abundance in what we have left in the scraps. Because Lord knows, food is expensive these days. And if you're like me, I work hard, and I don't like seeing stuff sitting in my fridge, in my pantry, and I know how to cook, and I wanna share that, because it helps people. And it's helping me chow down right now. I'm gearing up for the week, getting my meal prep together. I already hit the gym today, so now I know I can focus on work, I can focus on my personal life, and I don't have to worry about cooking because everything's all set. So stay tuned. Please like, subscribe. You can leave a comment if you want, but I'll tell you what, I don't read comments, maybe in a month or two, because some folks are nasty out there. I really appreciate it. I really hope you found this helpful. I can't wait to do the other one. So here we go.